Hi there, I'm Scott, and this is Great Scott Knitting, Passover Day 7. And it is the 6th day of the Omer, so let's get that out of the way because it is after sundown. It is Shabbat. It has begun. And so, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer hayom shishi yamin la'omer. Today is the 6th day, or today is 6 days of the Omer. So far so good. The allergies are just killing me, so I'm all sniffly. Don't know why. I've taken allergy pills. And they just aren't kicking in today. But it's Friday. Shabbat has begun. It's the day of rest and relaxation and enjoyment. And so it begins. Oh, hi Spock. I just noticed him over my shoulder, hanging out. So the topic for the week has been chesed, loving kindness. And today, the aspect of loving kindness that we are talking about is yesod, which is bonding, unity, togetherness. The meditation for today is, of course, more around intimate relationship bonding, but for what it's worth, here it is. For the love to be eternal, it requires bonding, a sense of togetherness which actualizes the love in a joint effort, an intimate connection, kinship, and attachment, benefiting both parties. This bonding bears fruit, the fruit born out of a healthy union. Exercise for the day: start building something constructive together with a loved one. Very nice and good. Again, my brain has gone in a different direction with it. For me, loving kindness, the act of it, doing things which are kind, brings us together as people. It's a unifying energy. When we do things that are kind for other people, we're exhibiting one level of sort of a level of understanding. And what can be more kind than to strive to understand another person from their own perspective? I think that is a huge act of kindness, and it brings us together because the striving to understand another brings us closer to them, and the fact that we strive to do that brings them closer to us. Hence, we unite together a bit more, and once we strive to do that, come together as a people, as friends, or even come together as strangers, in a unified way, we all benefit. We all get better at whatever we're trying to get better at. I think our world, our nation, our world, our universe needs more kindness. It needs more acts and action and attempting to be kind with one another. I think it will bring about more unity. Yeah, so that's what's been going through my head as I prepare for this evening, thinking about union, unity, yesod, and kindness. what goes through your head when you think about unity and kindness and how those interrelate to each other? Um, I'd be interested to know what some other folks are thinking as they go through this week, uh, where at least my focus has been kindness. Um, it's been a very slow day from the fiber perspective of my world. I had a very busy day at work, which kept me very much away um, from knitting. And I'm at the point in my shawl where I'm starting to get to the point where it's some short row aspects. So it's not one of those things that I can just mindlessly knit without paying attention to it. Um, Not like just straight garter stitch back and forth. You have to count and then turn rows at the right place, and so it's not easy to do while really focusing on something else. So I've had to keep that aside and really haven't knit a stitch today. That's really rare. Don't worry, I will knit some stitches today. May just have to bring out my sweater and knit a couple of rounds of that just to say that I am making progress. Now, 2 rounds is better than none. So a little bit. Everyone's after a while, you have eaten an elephant, one bite at a time. Sometimes sweaters are like elephants to me. I did do some interesting reading today. In, of all places, Good Housekeeping. Yes, we get. I feel more and more like an old woman every day. We now subscribe to Good Housekeeping. It was a very good deal. Can't remember how much it was, but it's like super cheap. But one thing that actually a couple of things struck me as I was leafing through, and every once in a while things catch my attention. One was a very short article by their editor-in-chief, Jane Francisco. She's writing as a mother, trying to get her kids to do something other than screen time, other than focusing on playing games or watching TV or looking at their phone the whole day. And one of the things that she writes about is before she allows her kids to use a screen of any kind, they have to have done something else to get their, as she put it, get their neurons firing in a different way. And some of her options that she listed are really quite interesting. And really a very good idea. I don't care what the age, maybe even something that we could do as adults. Do an activity that's mathematical, like cooking or building in like a wood shop. Something where you have to do some measuring and thinking mathematically. Or do something strategic, like playing a game or creating a project from scratch. Or do something meditative, like a puzzle, an outdoor walk, or a long bath where all you do is stare at the ceiling. Or something that requires hand-eye coordination, like knitting, ding ding, or ball throwing. Or there's also reading or socializing without electronics. List goes on. I think the key thing here is to try and get rid of the electronics for a short period throughout your day so that you're doing something else. We're so wrapped up in our electronics. I know I am terribly guilty of it. My entire day is wrapped up in electronics and being at my computer. Although some of the favorite points in my day are when I go into the kitchen and start preparing dinner and start cooking. Much of that I do from my brain. I may consult the internet for a good recipe, although sometimes I just pull out the old, Betty Crocker. But then again, sometimes I just like chicken, seasonings, cook, off we go. Um, been doing it for so many years, I don't really think about it too deeply, unless it's a big meal, and then I am very focused. She uses a term here called neuroplasticity. It's that idea of the brain forming new connections consistently, and when it gets out of the practice of doing it, it then is harder to do. But that it's good for our brain to continually adapt and learn and grow by keeping it stimulated with new and different things. And then the other thing is to move, get up off your ass and do something that isn't sitting in front of a computer screen all day long. I liked this article. Very interesting. And really enjoyed it. Really liked it. I thought it was very short. I mean, articles nowadays are so short. I've noticed that about most of the articles in most magazines. They are super short. There's no time given. We're used to the screen. We're used to short vignettes of no more than 30 seconds. We're short messages of no more than 40 words or characters. So we've become very used to making sure that everything that we do is in a short sound bite that people won't get bored before they get to the end of it. Now, I did come across an article that I didn't like. It was an article called Anti-Aging Smoothers and Plumpers, all about using injectables to appear younger. Targeted, of course, towards women. Although I know men have the exact same vanity nowadays, but it made me think that it's an age-old thing, especially in the society that we have built, where age and growing older are not valued and not celebrated, and that at all costs we should attempt to look younger than we are and act younger than we are. And then, of course, appearance is everything. I'm almost 55. I have never dyed my hair. I look gray, both sides. This side more than the other, but I have no desire to change this. I mean, my hairline used to be here, and now it's a good 2 inches further back. I have wrinkles, laugh lines, bags. These are things I have. My eyesight's gone bad. Anymore, I take my glasses off more than I actually wear them, which basically tells me I need to go get progressive lenses, because it's just ridiculous. It's time to move on. It's time to realize I'm not 22. Wouldn't want to be. Oh my God. I like the fact that I'm 55. I like the fact that I'm graying. And I know that we have created a society where, for the women in our world, it is very different than for the men. Men can age gracefully and go gray, and their hair can fall out, and they can get wrinkles on their face, and they're still considered handsome and virile and attractive. But when women go gray, and have laugh lines, and age starts to appear on their bodies, society says, no, 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 you're supposed to look young and fresh. We have to fill in the lines with injectables. We have to Botox our forehead so there's no wrinkle, so it doesn't appear to wrinkle. I mean, but then again, men are starting to fall every bit into this level of vanity that your body needs to be in a certain way. Your face needs to have that certain youthfulness. And certainly in the gay world, it has youth and beauty have always been the calling cards of the day. Yet I wonder, and I often wonder about this of late, if some of this focus on youth and beauty may have been slightly different if HIV hadn't taken an entire generation of gay men, and that there were more folks my age between their 50s and 60s and 70s now, that if there weren't more of us out there, there wouldn't be more acceptance and celebration of those my age, not just the young and pretty. But I don't know, maybe not. But I still often think of the generation we lost, my generation, to be precise. I have a coaster that is on my desk, and it is from a very dear friend of mine who passed last year, the year before. Youth is a gift, age is an art. Yes, this coaster, not so much this one. Yeah. So that's to remind me that it's okay to grow old. And for me, it's a blessing to grow old. Every day that I made it past 35, I considered a blessing, a gift, and felt challenged to turn it into an art. I don't know that I have, but it's a good thing to think about, growing older and making it look good. My husband is fond of saying we don't look our age. I probably don't. I don't look as old as my father did at 55. At least to my eyes. Now, if I were 20, I might look at myself and say, "Oh no, you're every day of that, if not more." But I don't much care what my 20-year-old self thinks of me. No, he probably would have been okay with me too. But it's an interesting mental exercise, I guess. Oh, anyway, I'm just rambling tonight. It's Shabbat. I don't have a purpose, and I don't have any fiber to share, particularly. Not really. So, hey, to those of you who gave me some good suggestions on yarn color, I appreciate it. I do think I have a bit more of a direction to go for creating some sisters to go along with this variegated skein. So someone did suggest to pick out some of the main colors that strike me in this. And of course, the biggest colors that strike me are the reds and the blues. But that would be one direction to go. But I'm also considering going with a neutral based on the yellow to help bring it out a little bit. So maybe a yellowish brown to help bring out that color. And then maybe some blue. Or maybe a teal. I don't know, but something along the lines. I'm definitely going to have a neutral. Oh, no. I'm already shifting. I'm thinking maybe a neutral gray. Maybe a bluish gray. And then potentially the yellow that's bordering more orangish brown. But that's too neutral. Again, my conundrum. I really am not sure what I'm going to do with. I want to have something to offset this, to use it in a shawl together with this. But again, I don't know what the shawl will be, and I don't know. There is a Rebel Pup Knits shawl called Stained Glass, where I think this would be really nice as the stained glass, and then pair with that a gray for the sort of leading that would go around it. That's a thought. We'll see where that takes me. It may not take me anywhere this weekend. I do have some additional dyeing utensils coming to me for my dedicated dye equipment. That will definitely be a help for me. Mostly mixing things, for the mixing of the dye. That's what I found that I really lacked, is I needed a scale that I could weigh the powder at a fine enough level where I don't have to make large dye stock, because I don't really have good storage for that yet. So I want to just be able to mix the small amount of dye that I need for the session that I'm dyeing, for the amount of yarn that I'm dyeing, which is not going to be great amounts at a time. So I want to be able to make smaller amounts of dye stock that I could use at, if not in that setting, but in like one or two settings, because I could store it for a little bit of time. So I needed to get a new scale that allowed me to do hundredths of grams as opposed to just solid units of gram. And then some beakers, although they're plastic, but beakers nonetheless, to allow me to do more precise measurement and maybe even some color mixing. What else did I pick up? Oh, some pH test strips, so I can test the pH of my water and of my dye pots. Find out if I have the acid high enough to have good adherence. So just a couple of things that I wanted to pick up this week. So those should be here some point this weekend. So maybe by next weekend I can do a little bit more dyeing, which would be nice. So yeah, I have rambled and rambled, so it's time to bring this to a close. Thank you for joining me this evening for the Shabbat edition of Passover. So check me out on the different social media. I'm on Facebook as GreatScott Knitting Page. I have an Instagram account under GreatScott Knitting, and my Ravelry account is GreatScott KCMO. Check me out on any of those platforms. And let's see, what else? Oh yes, if you like this video or any of my videos, hit the thumbs up. If you enjoy the content on my channel, select subscribe and ring the little bell icon so you're informed of when I upload new content. Share that I am out here with your friends and other fiber enthusiasts. And yeah, so have a lovely evening. Have a lovely day tomorrow. I will be joining you yet another couple of times to get through the full holiday. And yeah, so there's that. So have a lovely evening again. I've just said that. So may there be peace in your home and the fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Good night.